The divisive case setting the internet ablaze, pitting a popular college football star against a classmate who says he raped her. For the first time, the former University of Montana quarterback took the stand to tell his side of a high-profile he said, she said story. But will it save him from prison? Here's ABC's Lindsay Davis.
Jordan Johnson, the former star quarterback at the University of Montana, is accused of raping a former acquaintance. It's being called a classic case of he said, she said. He says he had consensual sex. She says it was rape. The case has divided the university and surrounding college town of Missoula in western Montana. Today on the stand, he insisted he's not guilty.
We had consensual sex and that I would never do that to anyone.
The incident happened last February, but it wasn't until more than a month later that the alleged victim, whose name isn't being reported, told authorities he raped her.
He grabbed onto my hips and he started pulling my body into his again and again and again. It hurt so bad.
According to the 21-year-old's affidavit, she sent a text message to a friend shortly after the encounter saying, "OMG, I think I might have just gotten raped. He kept pushing and pushing, and I said no, but he wouldn't listen." According to court documents, the next day she got a medical exam, and the prosecution says they discovered bruises. Johnson admits that on the night of the incident, he initiated contact with the woman via a text that said, "Hey." He says she later invited him to watch a movie in her room and ultimately picked him up. He says about 15 minutes into the movie, they started kissing on her bed, and things quickly escalated.
She asked me if I had a condom. I said no, and she said it's okay.
Did she show any reluctance about when you were having sex?
No. If she would have, I would have stopped.
But according to her account, she didn't want to have sex that night and told police that she repeatedly told him, no, not tonight.
What was your expectation of him coming over and watching the movie?
I just wanted to really get to know him. I didn't really hang out with him since a year prior.
The prosecution argues shortly after Johnson arrived in her room, things got ugly.
He changed. His demeanor changed. He became more aggressive, and in her words, it got real scary real fast.
She says he told her, "Turn over or I'll make you." Johnson admits at one point he did turn her over, but they were just changing positions. But Johnson's attorney was quick to point out.
Did you think she was into it?
Yes.
And why?
She was moaning.
The defense describes the victim as a spurned woman who was jealous of a relationship Johnson was having with another woman he recently started seeing.
I was kind of starting to think about Kelly. And that I didn't want her to know that I had sex with another girl.
The defense also points out the long delay in reporting the incident is significant, but psychologists say it's not unusual.
It is common for survivors of sexual assault to delay reporting to police. They may be blaming themselves or be fearful of the unknown.
Rape is said to be the most common violent crime on American college campuses today, and in the overwhelming majority of those cases, the rape is by an acquaintance, not a stranger.
Every 2 minutes, somebody in the U.S. is sexually assaulted, and nearly half of survivors are under the age of 18. Women in college years are at the highest risk for this crime.
Guilty or not, the allegation alone has been life-changing for the former starting quarterback. It's not only suspended Johnson's promising football career, he led the Grizzlies to an 11-3 season as a sophomore and threw 6 touchdowns in one game, but it's also impacted his family.
It's very hard to deal with, not just me, but my family. I don't even remember what it's like to be normal.
Johnson is charged with sexual intercourse without consent, a felony with a maximum sentence of 100 years in prison.
His testimony was absolutely crucial, but more to see if he slipped up. And the fact that he survived the cross-examination relatively unscathed is a big win for the defense in this case.
The defense points to her conflicting text messages to support their argument. In one text to a friend, she wrote, "I don't think he did anything wrong." And in a message to a friend on Facebook, she wrote, "Maybe I wanted it."
Are her text messages the biggest obstacle for prosecution?
When she says, "I don't think he did anything wrong," even if you put that into context, even if you explain why she would have said that, that's a real problem for prosecutors in this case.
The case is playing out against the backdrop of investigations by the U.S. Justice Department and the NCAA, and it's made national headlines, some calling it trial by Twitter, because bloggers are feverishly tweeting play-by-play updates about every word and movement in the courtroom. But it's a jury that will ultimately decide as early as Friday. For Nightline, I'm Lindsay Davis in New York.